Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zoe and today I am answering some questions about myself and books and stuff. I apologize for sounding a little meh right now. I am getting over pneumonia. It was not fun. I had it last week and I wanted to die. So yeah, recovering from that. I still have a bit of a cough, but I feel much better. I definitely feel like not a zombie. Anyone who has ever had pneumonia, I just have such a newfound understanding and respect and empathy for you. That is just, it's not a good time. It's not fun not being able to breathe, let me tell you. So I have been meaning to do this Q&A for a long time. I wanted to do one when I hit 1,500 subscribers, I think it was. Yeah, I had got some questions and then it just got kind of pushed off. And so because I haven't been feeling that well and it's been hard to talk and have energy to plan videos, I just thought that this was the perfect timing to do just a little like chill Q&A. I have some really fun questions from you guys that I'm excited to answer. So let's just dive in. This first question is one of my favorites already. It says, not a question, but tell us about your cats, their names, their age, how, when you got them, and your faves. That's such a great question, and I swear I could do a whole video on just talking about my cats because I love my cats. I'm 100% one of those crazy cat ladies. I've had cats since I was like 9 years old, so not my whole life, but fairly long time. My first cat I have, and I'll put little like pictures here of them because they're just adorable, and they're all sleeping right now, so like I would go get them, but I don't want to wake them. So the first cat is Misha. She is a beautiful like calico looking cat, and she is so prissy. She's about, I think she's like 8 years old now, 7 or 8 years old. She was born in a litter of our family's cat that we had. She went out one night and had a good time and got pregnant, and Misha was part of that litter. Misha was born like several hours after all the other kittens, and as soon as my mom told me that, I was like, that's the one I want to keep. I want her. And she has been with me since college. So I took her to Memphis with me for college. And then when I moved back home, she had to live with a couple of my friends for like a year and a half while I finished college at a different college. And then I took her with me back to Memphis. Like, she's been everywhere with me and she's such a trooper. I hate traveling with her because she hates traveling, but she is just like, out of all three of our cats, she's the one that gets me the most. Like, I'll never forget this one time back in college. I had my heart completely broken by this boy, and I was crying and crying, and I just like was just in the worst mood, and I was laying on my bed and I was just crying and sad, and she jumped up right on my chest and just like plopped right there and just stayed there and purred until I felt better. And literally to this day, she does that. I was having a really rough time last week with pneumonia, and she 3 times in one day sat right, and she only does that when I'm feeling bad. Like, she doesn't do it when I'm like, come here, like, let's cuddle. No, it's only when I'm feeling badly. So I love her so much. She's definitely the prissiest cat out of all of them. She has quite the attitude. She likes her space. She doesn't want to play with other cats. Like, she's pretty prissy, but she's so sweet and wonderful, and I love her so much. So she's my cat that I brought into my marriage. So Andrew had to like get used to having a cat for the first time, and he absolutely loves her. But he really wanted his own cat. So we were in Nashville randomly one weekend, and he really wanted one. We saw this poster at like this Whole Foods, and there was this poster for Humane Society. They were having like the weekend where they pretty much give away their animals for free. You just have to pay like $15 or something like that for the adoption fee, or maybe if it's even free. I actually don't think we paid anything. So anyway, I was like, oh, like, let's go. Well, we went with my friends and we found out you can't adopt a cat if you don't live in that county. And we didn't live in that county, but my friends did, and my friends were there with us. And so basically, like, we found this cat, and we really wanted a boy, preferably already spayed and preferably long-haired, because we just really like long-haired kitty cats. And he was the only one that was like this cute little gray long-haired fluff ball, and he was the only one that was like spayed. And he also just like climbed right up on our shoulders and cuddled when we picked him up, and he was the one. Like, immediately knew it, he was the one. And so my friends ended up technically adopting him, but we took him and named him Scout. We like traveled the whole way home trying to think of what to name him, and it was the hardest thing. But he was so curious, and so like the name Scout just kind of like came to us because of just how curious he was about the car and about the people. And like when he wasn't sleeping, he was just like looking around. Like, he just was so curious. I mean, most cats are, but there's just something about his nature, and Scout fits in perfectly. I don't like to play favorites. I really don't. Like, they all have such great personalities, but he's just the sweetest and he's the most affectionate. So it's just really easy to just be so sweet on him. He is really fluffy. I think he's got some kind of maybe Maine Coon in his line, and he's really funny and silly. He likes to play with you. He'll do the whole like head nudge thing that just like makes you want to cry. And he's like the smallest of all three of our cats, so he's just really hard not to absolutely love. So that's Scout. He's only like 2 years old. Love Scout. He's just wonderful. And then George, which I talked about actually in my last Q&A video, he was a rescue that I did not plan on taking in. 2 cats was like my limit, absolutely. 3 cats is like crossing the line, I think. Like 3, oh my gosh. But it's kind of a long story, so I don't want to get into it too much. I'm already taking up so much time just answering this, but George was a rescue that we rescued last year. I don't know how old he is. I want to say he's younger than Misha, but definitely older than Scout. He's a short-haired orange cat who's actually huge, but we did rescue him, so he's definitely got a little bit more of a skittish personality, but he just sleeps and eats a lot, and it makes me happy because I know that he was a street cat for at least a couple months. We would feed him on our apartment stoop, and we couldn't take him in because I was like, no. But then a rainstorm hit one night, and it just broke my heart knowing that he was out there getting rained on and having to deal with that. And I was like, that's it. Like, if we see him after this rainstorm, if he survives it, we're taking him in. And so we did, and he's so sweet. He's always sleeping. He's gained like 11 pounds since we rescued him. He is so huge, but it's so sweet. I just think about him having to deal with living on the streets and then seeing him like curled up in his kitty bed, just like pure luxury life. It makes me so happy that we could do that for him. So George is wonderful. He's skittish, but he's very sweet. He's the only cat who will purposely like jump up on our laps to like get some good quality cuddle time in. So he's awesome too. I love all of my cats so much. Andrew is my husband, and he never grew up with cats, but he has turned into a bigger cat lover than me, which is just crazy. If he had his way, we would have 4 cats, but I'm like, maybe when we own our house, but man, 4 cats is like a lot of cats. It's a lot of litter boxes. You know, you're supposed to have like 1 litter box per cat plus 1 more. That's like 5 litter boxes. Okay, anyway, I can't. But yeah, we really like cats. Okay, moving on. The next question is, what inspired you to start your channel? I really like that question. I just love books so much. And I mean, it's nothing really like existential. I love reading so much. I love books so much. I was doing Bookstagram for a while, and I really liked that. I feel like I am a creative person, so like I love doing just something creative with my time, and that's dabbling in everything you could think of. But I really wanted to start a Booktube channel because I'm an extremely shy person. I actually have social anxiety disorder, so being in groups of people is very challenging for me, and being extroverted is really hard for me, and it just makes me like sad that it's something that I struggle with, and it's something that sometimes just feels like it cripples my life. And creating this channel has been such a blessing because it's been able to allow me to be extroverted, but in a way that makes me feel safe and connect with people and make friends and do all the things that I feel like a normal extroverted human being can do, but in a way that makes me feel safe and like I'm allowed to be myself. So I have really loved this channel, and that's really the main purpose as to why I wanted to start one. The next question is, how do you drink your coffee? Any and all ways. I love coffee so much. When I'm home, I drink it black. I just love a good cup of black coffee. I make it with my AeroPress, which I highly recommend using. It takes out all of the acidity and like bitterness. Oh, hey, Georgie. Speaking of shy. Hi, you gonna join me? You're so cute. So it takes away all the acidity, and it's awesome, and I so like seriously recommend it. If you're like, I don't know about black coffee, it's always really bitter or whatever, try it with the AeroPress. Get a nice like dark roast, preferably if like you grind it yourself or get it ground. Oh my gosh, it is the best. If I go out, man, I like everything. I like Americanos, I like lattes, I like cafe au laits, I like chais. I really love anything coffee. I think like lattes and cafe au laits are probably like my go-to though. What are some of your favorite snacks? Oh, I like that question too. My new favorite thing right now are like the cuties, like clementines. Oh my gosh, I had to have a lot of vitamin C when I was sick, and so I just got on like a super kick of like cuties. I know they're not, I think they're called clementines, but like a brand of cuties. Anyway, anyway, they're so yummy. So I'm really liking those right now. I also super love popcorn. Like when I'm reading a book, I love popcorn. I love like the crunchy, salty stuff. Snacks. I'm like a cheese and crackers girl all the way, like a charcuterie board. Give me that for every single meal all the time. Like that is my jam. It is so good. Next question. Show us some of your favorite book covers. Okay. Oh man, I didn't prepare for this. Okay, I'm just gonna grab stuff I find, but like I love the To All the Boys I Loved Before covers. They're so pretty. I find myself just like staring at Lara Jean, or the girl who's supposed to be Lara Jean, and I'm like, I wish I was this girl, or I wish I had her bedroom. I also super love the Immortalist cover. This is so pretty, and like it's got shiny little like gold dots everywhere. I'm a huge fan. Also, this is one of my favorite books of all time, so that probably helps. Who knew that I was going to do this one? But yeah, I mean, the Dreamers. I love the pastels against the navy blue like sky. This is like my everything. I love it. This is my aesthetic. I'm obsessed. And then Wilder Girls. I know you guys probably are sick of seeing this, but this is like such a great cover art. Like I'm obsessed with this. Unfortunately, I didn't like the book, but I love the cover. Okay, well, I ruined that. But okay, yeah, those are some of my favorites. What are some tips you can give me to put some content to my Booktube channel? That's a really good question. I totally also struggle with thinking of content. I think one thing that I've started doing recently is really like sitting down and putting time into brainstorming. Like for a long time, I was just like, oh, people don't put time or effort into it. They just come up with these things, but they don't. Like people genuinely sit down and have a planner or a notebook in front of them and just kind of like start spitballing ideas. I struggle with original content, but I like to think about things that matter to me personally. Like I'm working on kind of a secret project this month that I haven't seen anyone else do it. It definitely probably has been done before, but it matters to me and it's important to me, and it's a part of my life and who I am, and I wanted to do something that was more personal. And so like I just challenge you to think about what matters to you. Like, do you like politics? Do you like fashion? Do you like going outside? Do you like, I don't know, working out? Like what are things that like matter to your life, and then try to like incorporate and weave that into the content that you create. I think that could be really fun, and that's what also helps spur on like original ideas. Favorite rom-com? I'm assuming you mean rom-com movies. Man, that's a great question. You know what? I think like my favorite rom-com of all time is 13 Going on 30. It's just such a classic, and I could watch it every single day. I love that movie so much. I don't watch a lot of movies, but that's one that like has always like stuck with me. I just love that story. Everything about it. So good. Place you'd love to travel to. Okay, my dream destination is like Bali. I just think it looks so stunning, and like that is where I want to go someday so badly. If not Bali, then I'd love to go to Greece. Again, it just looks so stunning. Or like Rome. Honestly, anywhere. I'm such a chicken though when it comes to traveling. I get really intimidated, unfortunately. But if I had the chance, that's where I would love to go. Do you have any siblings? I do. I have an older brother who is 3 years older than me. His name is Christoph. I have a younger brother who is 1 year younger than me. His name is Max. And I have a sister who is 9 years younger than me, and her name is Avery. And I love my siblings so much. We are close. We have like a fun little group chat where all of us plus like our husbands' wives, well, Avery's not married, so my husband and their wives are in this group chat, and we talk like every day and send each other funny memes and screenshots and pictures of the nieces and nephews, and like we're just close, and I love that about my siblings. They are some of my best friends. Both of my brothers are pastors. My older brother is a youth pastor, and then my younger brother is a lead pastor, and my sister is going to college this year, which is so crazy to think about. So yeah, I love my siblings. I miss them so much. That's probably the hardest thing about living far away from the rest of your family, is that I'm not in close proximity with my siblings. Like both of my brothers' wives are two of my very best friends. They were actually my friends before my brothers even dated them. I kind of helped with that a little bit. Selfish motives, but like I love my sister-in-law so much, and they're my best friends, and like I miss them all the time. So that's super hard, but I love my siblings. They are the best. This question says favorite trope. Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question. Why is it bad that I can think of tropes I hate more than I can think of tropes I like? Maybe it's because like when I think of the word trope, I just automatically think like trope equals bad, but that's not always true. I mean, there's tropes you can totally like. And then everything I'm thinking of that I like, I don't even know if it's like technically a trope. That's so hard. Is like a cliffhanger ending? Are those tropes? Not cliffhanger, but like up to your interpretation. I love like books that end with kind of like a mysterious ending where it's like you don't know exactly what happened, or like it's up to the reader to kind of interpret the meaning. Like if you guys have ever read the book The Long Walk by Stephen King, like it ended and I was like, oh, what does that mean? Why did that happen? I really like that. I don't know if that's technically a trope, but I'm a huge fan of like stories that end with just kind of like a mysterious ending. It's kind of like your interpretation. I think that's really fun. I don't know if that's a trope. I also really like the trope of like rich people. I like reading stories about really wealthy people because it's something I will never relate to. So that's fun. I don't know if that's a freaking trope. Tropes. I don't know. Yeah. Group of friends, is that like a trope? I love reading stories about like a group of like close-knit friends. Yeah, those are some things that I really like in books. You guys can tell me if those are actual tropes or not, because maybe they're not. This question says, where did you get your flowery wallpaper? Oh, that's so sweet. It's actually not wallpaper, but you can find wallpaper definitely like this somewhere. It's right here. I don't know if this is a good view. So I think that it's actually a shower curtain technically, but I use it as kind of like a tapestry. I got it from Urban Outfitters for like super clearance. I don't know how it happened. It was like meant to be this little shower curtain and me. So Urban Outfitters is where I got it from. If you could only keep 5 books, which ones would they be? That's a great question. I love that. So easily The Dreamers and The Immortalists and The Loneliest Girl in the Universe. For the other 2, I'm not counting the Bible because like that's just like that counts. So I'm just not counting that, but that is in there. Well, I guess that's technically a book though, so I guess I have to count it. The Bible, I would keep the Bible. And then number 5, it stinks because for number 5, I'm thinking of like a bunch of series, but I can only keep one of the books. So like keeping the first one would be really hard because I'd want to read more of them. Maybe it would have to be like a mystery thriller that I really loved. I think I'd have to say The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn because I really liked that mystery thriller, and that's like a nostalgic to me because it set me on the path to read more mystery thrillers. So I think I'd have to go with The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. Such a good book, fast-paced, fun to read. I recommend reading it if you haven't yet. It's so good. I haven't talked about that book in a while, but those are the 5 that I would pick. This question is, how old are you? How old do you think I am? Better question. I'm 27. It's probably obvious. Favorite all-time book? I mean, all those 5 that I just listed are some of my favorite of all times. If I could only pick one of those books, I think I would have to pick The Dreamers. I just love that book so much. Are you guys sick of me talking about it yet? That book is just my everything. Please go read it if you have not. You probably won't like it as much as I do, but it was very dreamlike. I mean, which is funny because it's called The Dreamers, but it was just like, I don't know, it was very atmospheric. It was so good. This one's from my mom, and it says, Graham says you are inspiring. Who inspires you? Oh man, I have so many people that inspire me. 2 of my best bookish friends on here, Liv from Liv's Library and Kaylin from Kaylin Abridged. I just think they're like beautiful human beings that create beautiful bookish content, and they inspire me every day to like put out good content. So they definitely inspire me. Books and Lala totally inspires me because she just comes up with really creative ideas. She's very analytical and organized, and I am not that way, and I just really aspire to like step up my game and create more content like that. And then like in real life, who inspires me? My husband inspires me a lot. Like he is so driven in what he does and pursuing his music, and he never gives up. And even sometimes when he gets discouraged, like he just doesn't waver from like his love and his passion for why he does what he does, and that inspires me all the time. I'm so cheesy, but like my family in general inspires me. I'm so blessed to have a family that has always encouraged me to chase my dreams and follow my dreams and do what I love and express myself in the passion and creativity that I have. And so like they totally inspire me. I love them. I mean, I can't help but mention my grandmother, since my mom said that she thinks I'm inspiring. My grandma is the coolest person ever. I hope to do a video one day with her, but she is so funny. She is so feisty and like sassy and bubbly, and like she's strong. She is literally the coolest grandmother. She's just She's dope. I love her. I love her. I love her. Okay, this question says, how did you meet your partner? Oh, this is such a great story. I'm trying so hard to not like make these questions really long. I feel bad that Andrew isn't here to give his side of the story, but I'll kind of give my little synopsis. So Andrew and I met in 2014. I had gone to a music school in Memphis for 3 years. I didn't finish, and I moved back home up north in Wisconsin and ended up finishing at this other school, this like really private, conservative Christian college in the middle, literally in the middle of the woods. You had to like go through all these backwoods. It actually ended up closing down, so like you can't find it now, but I ended up going there because that's where my brother was going, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll go there. I gotta finish somewhere. And so that's where I was going. I loved the school so much. Like that school has my whole heart. And Andrew was going there, and we ended up, I was going and I was pursuing worship leading as well as like Bible major, but learning how to basically become a worship leader in a church. And because of he was a drummer, we ended up being on the same like worship team together, and we did not like each other. We absolutely did not like each other. When we got on the team, I would get really frustrated because I was told that I was going to be, this learning like how to be a worship leader, and I would get to practices, and the director of the music program at the school would be attending these practices, and that was all fine, but unfortunately he would like look to Andrew to direct kind of how the practices were going and the songs that we were choosing, and I would get really frustrated because I was supposed to be like the leader, and I was supposed to be kind of calling the shots and kind of leading the team and choosing the songs and having a voice. And unfortunately the director would be like, well, Andrew, what do you think about that song? And if I really liked the song, it didn't matter, but if Andrew didn't like it, he would be like, well, that's not my favorite song, I just think it's repetitive or whatever, then we wouldn't do the song. So stuff like that, it would drive me crazy, and I would go back to my dorm room and I would talk to my roommates, and I'd be like, I can't stand that Andrew, he thinks he knows everything and he has an opinion about everything, and I just couldn't stand him, and I would like shut down in practices and get really cold. And so Andrew thought I was extremely cold and just like mean and short with people, and I thought he was like conceited and like had all the answers. And so basically we just like were not friends. Well, I was also writing my own music at the time, and I had a gig in Green Bay that I was getting ready for, and I needed a drummer, and I asked him to be my drummer because he was the only drummer at the school and he was very talented. And I was like, okay, well, I need him. He could help me out. It'll be good. So I asked Andrew to be my drummer, and I remember him like skipping so many of the practices, like he would come up with excuses, and then he finally came to one, and he was actually really encouraging at the practice he was at, and he was doing like public speaking major, and there was one song that I liked to kind of like talk about, and he was helping me formulate how to talk about it. Anyway, I just remember thinking, oh, maybe this guy isn't all that bad. Like that was actually pretty helpful. I'm surprised. Like he's not super mean. So anyway, and I promise this all relates. So fast forward about a month, and we are heading out, and we are using my car, which is a piece of junk. And the car literally like breaks down with all of us in it, not even like a couple miles out from the school. And I'm freaking out because my car is like on the side of the highway, and now I have to figure out how to like get it off the highway in 24 hours. Otherwise they like tow it, and then you got to pay for that. And it's just like a whole mess. And so we get in another car and we head down to the gig, but I'm still thinking about my broken down car, and I just don't know what to do, and it was really stressful. I'm like super dumb and bad when it comes to cars. I just don't know how to do anything. That night, we were supposed to have like a really fun weekend, like go do the gig, and then we were all gonna stay at my friend's house all together, and it was gonna like be really, really fun time. And Andrew is a very like social person. He's very like excited about life and about things and charismatic, and he was so excited to hang out with all of us that night after the show. So during the gig, I got really nervous, and I was just getting full of anxiety, and I was so like anxious. And what was funny is that I had the biggest crush on the guy who was our guitar player. I had the biggest crush on him, and I just wanted him to like notice me so bad. And he was also from the school, and someone was opening for us. And the girl who was in the band that was opening for us, like when we were in the green room, they had like a TV of the band, and they were watching the band, and the guy that I have the biggest crush on, he's like, oh, that girl is so hot, and like he was just like commenting on the girl, and it was like destroying me. It was like just killing my confidence. And so I was getting really nervous about my gig, and Andrew never said anything, which I remembered. And we were getting ready to go out, and Andrew could tell I was super nervous, and he was like, hey, can I just pray for you really quick? Like, let's hop back in the green room, and I just want to like pray for you. I can tell you're really nervous. And so he was super sweet, and he like took me back to the green room and just did a really quick quick prayer for me, and we did the gig, and it was awesome. It was so fun. I had a lot of supporters and friends and family, and so that was really sweet. We get done with the gig, we go to like an IHOP to like celebrate, and Andrew tells me, hey, I'm actually gonna go back. My roommate has like a hookup, and I'm gonna take care of your car for you because I know you're kind of freaking out about it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take care of it. And I was like, what? Like, you were so excited to hang out with us tonight? Like, are you sure you want to do that? And he was like, no, I really do. I want to do that for you. I'm just gonna go back with one of our other friends that drove up to see the show, and no worries, like, it's all good. And I was like, oh, like, thank you so much. Like, I cannot tell you, like, that is so sweet. And so he worked with his roommate to basically get my car off the highway. He just towed it back to school where there was a mechanic, and took care of it for me. And I actually didn't know until years later that he ended up having to use his portion of the money he made for that gig to pay for that. And he didn't even tell me. He didn't tell me. And so like, he didn't have any crush on me. Like, there was no follow through. He wasn't like hitting me up with texts after that. It was still normal. And I just remember being like, showing up to our next worship practice and saying like, why did you do that? That was so, you know, out of the blue and nice. He's like, well, I just know that you were freaking out about it. And he's like, and I had that connection. And you kind of remind me of my sister. Like, she also doesn't really know about cars and like what I would have done for my sister. And so I just, you know, wanted to help you out. And I was like, that was so nice. And so ever since that, kind of changed my tune with him. I still wasn't really interested. I thought he was attractive, but it wasn't anything like, oh, I have a crush on him. I was still very much head over heels for that guitar player. So I just didn't even think about him. But I do remember thinking, oh, you know, maybe he's not such a bad guy after all. And so we ended up getting ready for, our worship team ended up getting ready for this gig out in Rockford to lead for this women's conference. And I remember when we were there, we had a lot of downtime, and we started just kind of talking about like, what are our favorite Disney movies when we were growing up, and kind of that really innocent stuff. And he had found out that I had never seen Treasure Planet or The Iron Giant, which are like two of his favorite Disney movies of all time. And he was like, no, we have to watch them. And so like a week later, he followed up with, hey, I have these movies, like, let's go watch them. And so this is so bad. It wasn't our first date, but it was the first time we hung out together, just the two of us. He ended up like breaking us into one of the buildings at the school we were going to that he didn't break in, but he had like the keypad code, but it was like after hours and you weren't supposed to go in, and brought his laptop and set it up, and we watched Treasure Planet together, and we ended up just having like a conversation, and then he walked me home when it was curfew, and it was really nice. And I was like, what is my life? Because I up to this point, I have never dated anyone, never kissed anyone, never held anyone's hand, never danced with anyone. I never had a boyfriend. Guys were not interested in me. I was like 22 years old. I had no clue what I was doing, but I was like, was that a date? Like, what just happened? Like, that was so, I don't know. And yeah, and he still claims to this day that that was not a date, and he like didn't intend it. He didn't really like have a crush on me at that point, but he just like wanted to hang out with me, wanted to spend more time with me. Sorry, this story is taking forever. I didn't want it to, but it's just like one of my favorite stories to tell. So getting close to the end of the school year, and we end up making plans to also watch The Iron Giant, which we ended up watching in like a more of a group setting. And yeah, and then we both had Snapchat. I remember Snapchatting him a lot. School got out and we had gone back to our houses for the summer and just started texting, and kind of the rest is history. Like, we ended up just really liking each other at the end of the day, and Snapchatting a lot and texting a lot. And he was like, I would really like to come see you one weekend, like come stay with you. And I was staying with my brother and his wife, and I was like, okay. And so he came and he hung out one weekend, and it was like the best weekend ever. We went to like a frozen yogurt place, and he was like, here are my intentions. Like, I like you, but I still want to get to know you, and maybe we should start dating like when we're back at school. And like, he was just very upfront. I never felt any confusion. It wasn't this like game of like cat and mouse. He like had intentions. He wanted to date me, and he was like so suave at the frozen yogurt place. He was like, I just know what I want, and when I know what I want, I go after it. Like, it wasn't like this cocky thing. Like, it was this really sincere thing that I so appreciated, because I've always been really confused with guys, and they've always really kind of toyed with me, and he never did. He was just like, this is what it is. I like you, and like, I want to date you. And so that's that story. Sorry it took forever. Yeah, he is my best friend. We dated from that point on, and then got engaged in 2016, married in 2017, and happily married to this day. Hi, this is Editing Zoe. I know that this story was already very, very long. But I forgot to talk about like the best part of the story was that he called my dad before he dated me and asked if he could have his permission to date me, which is so cute. And then when he officially asked me to be his girlfriend, he actually like led me on a scavenger hunt with like letters, which led me to the room where we first met, the music room at this school where we first like had our first practice as a worship team. And it like led to him. It went in this like nice romantic dinner and this like candles and music. And he asked me to be his girlfriend. And it was so cute. And I love that memory so much. And I had to add it in because I just think it's like the cherry on top of our story from like meeting in that room, not liking each other, and then meeting in that room and becoming like boyfriend and girlfriend. It's just really sweet. Okay, bye. So he's like my best friend and he gets me and he's the sweetest, most sincere, wonderful, kind man I've ever known in my whole life. And I am forever grateful for him because meeting him made my life so much brighter, and it hasn't stopped being brighter ever since he's been in my life. I'm so grateful every day that God spared me from all of these men that I would try and go after that absolutely were not for me, and just Andrew was the one. I don't know. So anyway, that took 17 years to talk about. If you're still watching, I am very impressed. You're a true friend. Okay, let's go through the rest of these really quick. So this question is, what is your job when you're not doing Booktube? I actually get this question a lot, so I'm happy to answer it. I work for a startup company called Handshake that's based out of San Francisco, California. If you attend a university or are like seeking a job at all, you might have heard of Handshake. It's kind of like a LinkedIn meets Facebook sort of thing. Handshake is a software that is used for universities and colleges, their career centers, and then their students, and then employers, and it connects all three to help students find their dream job. And I love it. I work for their customer support team. I work from home. I know I say that a lot in my videos and people probably think I work for like an MLM or something like that, or I'm like an independent something, but I'm not. I work for a company. I just am so blessed to be able to work from home. I gotta be honest, like I really walked into this job at just like a really opportune time. The company was like less than 100 people when I joined. It was like 2016. So I've been here for almost 3 years and they really needed someone. And I had a friend who was working for it and he knew that I was looking for a new job. And I was working at a terrible workers' compensation cubicle, making phone calls. It was the worst thing ever. And I interviewed and I had to go through a lot of interviews, like 6 interviews, and like the last one was with the CEO, and I thought I butchered it and like didn't get the job, but I did, and I'm so grateful. I love what I do every single day. I'm on their support team, like I said, so I work a lot just like with email. I help mostly our employer users navigate the system. So if they have like a question or if they think something's a bug or they don't know how to work things or they're frustrated or whatever, they will email in. I'll talk back to them and assist them as best as I can. And yeah, I'm pretty great at it. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm really good at my job. I absolutely love like working with my team. It's kind of just like a regular job, except I work from home. I still have meetings that I have to do. I still have deadlines and I still have like quotas that I kind of have to meet and all those things. So like it's definitely a regular job, but I work from home, which I'm blessed to be able to do that because of my social anxiety disorder. It's amazing that I get to work from home and do an amazing job and not have to worry about the social anxiety that I do deal with. So highly recommend that if you're struggling to look for a job, look at startups. Like they're so fun to work for. I love that our mission is all about helping students, regardless of your background, age, race, disability, abilities, whatever, like whatever you have going on, you should have an equal opportunity to find a job. Just as someone from Princeton does, like if you go to MIT, like you should have those same opportunities and be considered. And so that's like really what Handshake strives to do. So I love that I get to work for a company that's mission-based. It makes what I do feel even more impactful. So I like waking up in the morning and going to work. Okay, favorite book of the year so far, that's Still the Dreamers. Absolutely love that one. If you could name your child after a book character, who would it be? So I actually I don't have any boy names picked out, and I'm not like pregnant or anything or plan to be anytime soon, but I have always loved this girl name. And it's from a book character. It's from 2 book characters actually. And I've had it picked out forever. And Andrew absolutely loves it too. But I'm kind of sad because it's getting more popular. But it's like, it's getting more popular amongst animals and pets. And it makes me so sad. But if I ever have a daughter someday, I would love to name her Luna. I think that that is such a beautiful name. I've always been really, not tied to, but I've always just been really like, there's something about the moon and like the stars that really just like resonates in my soul. And I've always loved the name Luna from Harry Potter, but then one of my other favorite books of all time is The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and her name is Luna. And it just like, it just all ties in. Like that name always comes back to me. But it like everyone is naming their pets Luna, and it's making me really sad. So that's what I would do. What is a recent favorite show you have come across? So my husband and I just watched Breaking Bad. Well, that was the second time he watched it, but this is the first time I watched it. And I hesitate to say that it was a good show because I have never felt so mixed about a show before. Like, it was not a good show. It was a very hard show to watch. Everything that you want to have happen will not happen. It'll be the opposite, and it'll make you very mad. So I felt a lot of things when I watched that show, but I have to say, like, it was a well done show, and you will be shocked, and you will want to know what happens. And yeah, that was crazy. It's probably not a new show, and I was probably the last person to watch it, but that was a show. That was a show. We're also watching Chernobyl right now. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but that's a very interesting miniseries on HBO that is about Chernobyl, obviously. And yeah, that's also very weird. I like more dark things to watch. Yeah, I also started watching the Netflix show Dead to Me. That is a good, like, it's darker, but it's kind of funny, but it's like, oh my gosh, what's happening? I definitely recommend checking that one out if you're looking for something new. It's Dead to Me on Netflix. Okay, you guys, I am done. Those are all of the questions that I got. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you're still here, I am very impressed. I hope my voice wasn't too hard to understand throughout this video. Yeah, thank you so much for all your questions. Thank you so much for subscribing, for just being like the most incredible, kind, wonderful people I have ever known. I am so thankful for this community all the time. Even all last week when I couldn't make a video or upload, like, I was just thinking how grateful I was that I have this community in my life, and that you guys care to even ask me questions about myself is just really sweet. So thank you so much. I love you guys. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are, and I'll talk to you soon in my next video. Bye!